Good morning and welcome to SimWorld Today, Friday morning edition, the aftermath of a historic, chaotic, incredible day one of Hoopsteria. To talk about that plus a little SWBA, I am joined by the leader of all men, one Yales. Good morning, Yales. How are you?
Man, you should see my face. That was incredible intro. I like that one. I will use that. I will share that with the wife and see if she agrees. Maybe
I'm
we'll
sure
earn me a
she'll love
brownie.
that. I am here to
Okay.
hype people up, just like it's now Rick Profit. It's no longer Rick Blaze. It is Rick
Wow.
Profit. The day that we get, or the day at, no, the day of, the day we get a new pope, we also get a new prophet, and that's after Virginia Tech is stunned. Let's start there. They lose to Virginia as part of a historic day in college basketball, with two number one seeds being upset in the opening round. You saw it. I think you were in Los Angeles for that game. What are your takeaways? What happened down the stretch as Virginia Tech crumbled, blew the lead late, and then made questionable decisions to close it out?
There's a lot of analysis that we could get into, and I know that's what we do, but I'm more of the I'm gonna drill down on a very particular thing. I look over the stat sheets, and for as much as I say I don't look at stats, I use those to support what I watch with my eyes. Newly Cox.
Yeah, oh my God.
This
Yes, thank you.
I mean, 0 points. The big donut doesn't mean he wasn't shooting.
He tried.
0 for 7 from the field, 0 for 4 from the 3 point line. But guess what? He did contribute. He contributed 4 exceptionally untimely turnovers
Mm-hmm.
that may have got Virginia Tech rolling on a run that could have put this thing out of reach, put extra points on the board that made it. You know when you kind of hit those backbreaker points because some of these turnovers, Marsh, they were after a great defensive stop by Virginia Tech. He came down on the other end, ill-advised turnover, and then some of the shot attempts. I mean, whenever basketball wants to start classifying hockey assists as well as turnovers that come from bad shot attempts, he's
It's
got some
not.
of those on the resume as well. If he could have put anything on the board or just pulled back some of the turnovers, this game looks different. Now, I will say this before I hand it over to you: the game shouldn't even have been as close as it was. Cole Webb did not look incredible until towards the end of the game. He looked like Superman. Johnny Baldwin's 20 points. 20 points is 20 points, but I just really wasn't impressed with how Virginia looked. They did it when it matters, but Virginia Tech gave this game away, if you're asking me. And
Yep.
most importantly, Newly Cox did.
Newly Cox did. You can attribute it to Braxton Schuyler. I think that we should also be attributing this to head coach Mike Young. I thought their decision to foul
Mm,
up three with
mm.
35 seconds left. It was 39. There was a 9 second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. And I can
There's still
understand
time.
there's plenty of time. And I can understand doing one foul just so that, hey, the next one does send him to the line. It doesn't reset the shot clock if for example, you foul him with 20 seconds left, or with 15 or something like that. But the fact that they decided to do that, to me was really, it was just watching the conclusion of that game was just a massively questioning decision. I tweeted this last night. This was a stunning lack of composure by this team down the stretch, and I'm disappointed for them because this is a historic season for Virginia Tech to be a number one seed, to have the number of wins they had, to look at their losses across the board and to be just overall impressed with them, and then that's what they put on at the end. I was just incredibly disappointed. Not only the fact that I was wrong, right? I said I didn't think Virginia Tech was losing in the first round, but I mean, absolutely stunning to me that this went the way it did. And for Newly Cox, this is tough. I mean, this is a sour taste for a player to leave the college if he decides to as a sophomore to leave college basketball, because I thought Travion Novick was really good last night.
No, I, I mean, Novik was excellent. Newly Cox again. Young kid. I don't want to beat him down, but I mean that's just a horrendous stat line. You hit the nail on the head when you talk about Braxton Schuyler as well. 1 for 10.
Yeah.
Um, and I think just to speak to Rick Blaze and his infamous rant about Virginia Tech. Um, Here's what I think he was trying. Again, I'm gonna be the Rick whisperer for a moment. This is what I think he was trying to say because here's been some of my hesitation with Virginia Tech, and I think it played out last night as well. Remove Newly Cox and Braxton Schuyler as the falters, if you will, as well as the coaching. Their perimeter shooting puts so much pressure on Novik
Yep.
and the rest of or the lack thereof perimeter shooting puts so much pressure on the other team on their other team members and Novik at times that it really just makes the game hard. And I know they had a great record this year, and it's primarily because of Novik, Newly Cox when they get out in transition in their defense. But if a team's able to lock them in and make them play a half court game like Virginia did last night,
Yep.
3 for 13 from the perimeter, just it really bogged down their offense. 57 points. Is that what they put up for the night?
Yeah, 57.
Just
And
not
it
going to get
and
it
it's
done.
not like Virginia was really great offensively. Shot 38%, finished with 64 points. Like Virginia Tech walks away from that saying defensively we played a pretty good game. But we couldn't get into our spots. We couldn't get our guy going, our number 2 guy rolling. Travion Novik, his stat line looked a lot better until a couple late game heaves there to try to bring him back in. He hit the shot that put him within one. So it to me, so yeah, they fouled down one to just further emphasize how
It's
stupid
just awful.
that situation was. Like, I don't know how you as a head coach say this is the right call. We are
They still had a
down by one.
timeout too, Marsh. That's your point. So they with 30, 33, 39 seconds,
It was
something like that. I
39.
think I was
It was
doing my
39
countdown as
seconds.
well. You let that shot clock play out. If they score
100%.
or not, you get the ball back with the
You're getting the ball
timeout.
back. You are saying we are better off with 30. I think they ended up being like 30 seconds left, maybe a little bit less than that. You're saying we are better off down by 3 with less than 30 seconds left, as opposed to maybe down by 3 or maybe down by 1 with 10 seconds left. You are going to have to go back to the free throw line after that 30-second mark if you don't foul that first time, right? You play defense. If they score and you don't score, you're fouling again. Like, you are in the same exact position that you ended up in regardless. It makes zero sense to me that the decision was we foul up down by 1 with 39 seconds. It is the cardinal rule. If the shot unless the shot clock is separated by 1 to 2 seconds, let it play. Trust your guys. And in a game in which you held Virginia to 38.5% shooting, you should be trusting your guys to get stops. Now, down the stretch of that second half, they weren't doing that. But you have to trust your guys to get stops because you are going to send them to free throws no matter what happens on that possession if you don't score the next time down. Give your guys a chance to be down 1 and not down by 3. All right, let's head to the other massive upset of the opening round. And now I can't. It was Texas falling to Marquette, and really what I thought was the Alex Rodriguez performance. I mean, yes, Marquette had the full complete game, but what were your takeaways as Texas and Arthur Lattimore, a player that's one of the better freshmen in college basketball? He played fantastic. The rest of that roster for Texas, again, the stars came to show for both of the number 1 seeds that did not win. The rest of the roster did nothing.
Yeah, I think the story was the exact same, or not exactly the same, but very familiar to what we saw with Virginia Tech. Vincent Magic for all of the highlights that he gets, and for all of the glitz and glamour that people love when they see a highlight play, because that kid has major hops. He can throw a beautiful dime. Very flashy. 6 points, or excuse me, 2 points, six
Mm-hmm.
boards, 6 assists. But once again, 4 turnovers, only 2 shot attempts. And when I step away from the stats and when I watch the game, he just was not aggressive enough for me. His perimeter shooting is something he's going to have to continue to work on. Put a lot of pressure on Arthur Lattimore, and down the stretch,
Yep.
Marquette was able to just kind of key in, bog down on the paint. Anthony Young was able to get some open 3 point looks, but that's only one guy they had to chase down. But even aside from that, I think I'll just go ahead and say it. People forget this is college.
Yep.
You can remember the big names all you want, but these kids were freshmen. Texas is led by freshmen: Vincent Magic, Arthur Lattimore. Those are the big names, the headline names, and they're freshmen. They didn't. Now Lattimore had, if you look at his stat line, he performed well. He had
He
some
was
big
really
moments.
good.
He had some tough shots. He was great. But when you just need to kind of settle yourself It's hard to put a freshman in a position that he's never been in on a big stage, and that arena's ripping and roaring out there. I think they were, out in the Midwest playing Dallas Airlines Arena
Right. Your
with
own backyard.
27,000 plus in the building and a
Yep.
lot of pressure and not a true home court advantage. I mean, there was a lot of Texas fans there, but I just think it was a lot to put on them, and down the stretch, it just didn't go their way.
Here's the difference between the two one seeds that won and the two one seeds that lost. The ones that were victorious are falling into one of two camps. You have a generational. I mean, he has looked. Cooper Flag has looked generational. Arthur
You're
Lattimore
gonna
is really
stir up the
good.
haters
What's
early
that?
in the morning, Marsh.
I'll stir him up. I don't care. The kid is incredible. As I said, I have refused to bet against Cooper Flag. That is the stance I'm on. I'm not leaving that hill anytime soon. And I mean, once he gets the SWBI, we'll give him like 2 years, and then I'll maybe pick against him. But the Arthur Lattimore's really good. He's not that good, right? Travion Novick is really good. He's not that good, and that's the difference with Duke. Cooper Flag is Cooper Flag. Cooper Flag is an absolute stud. He's the best player in college basketball. Lamarian Sherwood's number two, but ceiling wise, Cooper Flags is much higher than that, just based off his age. That's the first bucket. The second bucket is options, right? The options that Alabama has. Dwan Epps, right? Quincy Henderson. DJ Childs had a fantastic game. Levin Cutler can get rolling. That doesn't exist for Texas. That doesn't exist for Virginia Tech. And that's why both of them are going home. And that's the concern, right? I mean, in the build-up to the game against Kansas, my comment about how does Kansas win this game, make somebody else besides Arthur Lattimore beat you and suffocate everybody else at the same time. Kansas didn't do that. But that's how Texas is susceptible. That's how Virginia Tech is susceptible, is that their secondary options just aren't on par with their primary ones. And there's just no one that can be on par with Cooper Flag, and he's just so overwhelmingly great that it doesn't matter if anyone else is on or off. And by the way, this Duke team's also really deep and really talented in ways that Texas and Virginia Tech aren't. But that's the difference. I'm not surprised if you said, hey, coming into day one, it's a historical day, two number one upsets. Who's it going to be? I would not have guessed Alabama. I would not have guessed Duke. The two that lost make 100% sense. Not that they lost, but in the grand scheme of number one seeds going down, the lightning struck twice on Thursday night and Thursday afternoon, because perfect scenarios had to happen for both Texas and Virginia Tech to lose, and they did.
I'll add just as one other the difference between those two number ones, along with what you just added, Marsh, is and Virginia Tech did do what I'm going to say for moments, in some brief moments.
Sure.
But from the outset, Duke and Alabama defensively, when they locked in and just kind of clamped down, the kids were all over the floor. They were blocking every shot at the rim. They were diving into the stands. Like, you could tell that they wanted it, right? They knew that they were the better team. They had to apply like real pressure defensively and offensively. They got to the 50-50 balls. I did not always see that from Texas at all. Virginia Tech showed it momentarily, and that's really what they made their name off of.
I mean, yes, but Virginia shot 38%. It's not like they had a great day. The difference also was taking care of the ball, right? Texas is -9 in turnovers in that game. Virginia Tech has 15. They did force 11, but they had 15 of theirs. And you look on the other side. You watch. I was in Miami for the Alabama game. The ball was on the floor constantly because Alabama kept knocking the ball away. I mean, DJ Childs was an absolute pest in that one, that it just could not be slowed down.
Marsh, Rick, this was like Rick's day. Rick comes
Rick
out of
is
this looking like
basking.
he's just all knowing, doesn't he?
He
It was
does.
just his
That's
day
why
yesterday.
it is Rick Profit. We got a Pope and we got
He's
a
not gonna
Prophet on
make
the
it
same
into the
day.
building the next time we see him. His head's gonna be so big.
No, No, I mean this room, the planet Earth is barely big enough. Get Jeff Bezos because we need a rocket just for Rick, to be able to contain a well deserved
Yeah.
day from him. All right, I want to talk real quick SWBA, where specifically the Boston Celtics. Yes, Golden State lost last night. No, I am not running from it. That was a guaranteed loss the moment Curry went down in Game 1. But Boston is now down 0-2. They blow a pair of 20-point leads, and yet still, according to Vegas, they're still the favorites to win the East, despite being down and being not favored to win their own matchup right now against New York. What is your takeaway? Because there's a bajillion ways you can go with this. Tatum is a fraud. Maybe that's the truth. The Knicks are incredible. The Celtics aren't great. What are you pulling from the Celtics being down 0-2 right now?
I got to be as brief as possible because I have lots of thoughts, and I talked to a lot of our team, talking through Hoopsteria, and I got to get a lot of my thoughts out, so the public gets to hear it. Number one, you said one of the takes is that Jason Tatum's a fraud. Jason Tatum is not a fraud. He is one of the most skilled players in the SWBA. He is not an absolute killer who
He's not a
says,
star.
"I know the spots I need to
Yeah.
get to win when it's time to win."
Yeah.
That's what he's not. And he showcased that by being forced into shooting threes
And and
all over the board.
and by the way,
Um,
Yells, he showcased that last season when they won a championship when he wasn't the best
Repeatedly,
player on his team.
right? Jalen Brown took the
Yep.
crown, but to that point though, the SWBA loves Jason Tatum. There's a reason why they love him. And then
Fans don't.
to your first point, the betting lines still have the Celtics in the favor because the betting lines also are involved in with the favorites. And I know how you feel about conspiracies. I'm not saying the conspiracy part, but Vegas does also know how a game's going to be refereed. They know some things. So these games for the rest of the series are going to be closer than we think. I still think it's over. And then let's
Yeah.
talk Knicks. I don't want to not give them their credit. There's a slew of guys on that team that I don't like. But here's what I was sharing with some of our team yesterday when we were talking through the game. The difference, there is a huge discrepancy in sports. And the casual viewer fails to miss this when they stare at stats or when they just watch skill. Basketball, team sports is not 1v1. It is
Mhm.
not 2v2. It is not all offense. It is not all defense. And I am a firm believer that this year that we speak of and in seasons, in all things, we will very vividly see that this is the year of will over skill. And I do believe that's what we're seeing in that Boston series against the Knicks. The Celtics are being outwilled, although they're the more skilled team. They're going through their analytics. They've hit their check boxes of where they need to shoot from, what it is that they're supposed to do. But the Knicks, I don't think the Knicks are a better team, but I do think that the Knicks are outworking them, out hustling them. They're out believing, out confident. Everything's there. They haven't lost their confidence when they go down 20. But the Celtics, I think they did lose their confidence as they continue to miss three after three. But the robot in them and the analytics and the process says keep shooting it. I just give it. I hats off to the Knicks. The Celtics aren't going to make it out of this series. I'm not a believer in Jason Tatum at all. And that's the end of this run for the Celtics. If they do not make it out of this first round, I mean, it was already in question anyway. Marsh, as they almost have like $1 billion in payroll on the
Yep.
books. It's a wrap for this team. So then the question is, at that time, people will properly assess Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown once they break this up.
So I don't know that they're breaking up the two of them, but I think the ancillary pieces probably should be. If it's a finance, I mean, you have a new ownership that just walked in the door, and you've
Can't
got
pay
a
can't pay luxury tax on $1 billion.
right, and all of the ramifications of that. But you got two guys in their late 20s. You don't blow that up. You tweak around the edge. Here's the thing with Boston. Boston had stretches during the regular season where and I don't always, 9 out of 10 times I don't freak out about them. When a great team goes through a 2 week, 4 week lull where they're 500 for, they're 8-8 over a 16 game span, or they're 11-5, which when they're normally 12-1, it's like, whoa, sky is falling. And you don't read into those. But Boston did have that stretch in the middle of the season where their threes weren't falling, and they weren't relying on anything else. And this is an exceptionally one-dimensional team in terms of they shoot threes. They are not. They want to shoot. I think they shot 63s in game one. They want to shoot the three, and when they don't hit the threes, and you are unfortunately very well aware of what happens when a team does not hit the three in a postseason, you are susceptible to going out. That's what's happened here with Boston. And we've seen this. We've seen them capable of being ice cold from three for long durations. Just like teams before, led by Daryl Morey, that have the same problem. They rely on the three, and they're stubbornly committed to saying, well, eventually we're going to hit them. The problem is they don't have an option two. And if you go back to like peak Golden State, right, that's the team that everyone wants to credit with this three-point revival, or really arrival. They had other options. They were a three-point shooting team with two guys, and then when Kevin Durant showed up with three
I'm
guys.
so sorry. I hate interrupting. I have to add this part because I feel like you're not going to add this part, which is, I mean, it's not a negative statement.
Okay.
Because I also hate that the SWBA has become this because everyone wants to be the Warriors and play how they had two of the greatest shooters in SWBA history, which is why that also worked for them in history.
They had the two best shooters who are almost immune to extended cold streaks, right? But they also
not two of the best that season though, Marshall. Let's make sure we're clear. Not two of in the history of the sport.
Right.
Yes.
Drew Holiday is not that. Jason Tatum is not that. Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Kristaps Porzingis. Those are all good three-point shooters. They're not Stephen Clay, and they're not Stephen Clay in their mid-20s, which is just a whole other ballgame. But on top of that, Golden State had a second option, right? The second option was we are actually a cutting basketball team. We get Andre Iguodala the ball. He shoots well from mid-range. He's a dunker, right? We have Sean Livingston who shoots the mid-range. We got Draymond Green who facilitates. You do high pick and rolls, and the gravity of our guys that can shoot threes opens up a wide-open paint because we have great cutters. We have great passing big men. Boston doesn't have that. And these first two games, they've played with this, well, eventually the threes are going to fall, and as soon as they stop falling, and they haven't been, and New York starts getting momentum, there's not a second card to be played. It's, well, let's keep trying this one. And it's like, hey, newsflash, buddy, that key doesn't work right now. That door's staying locked. So you got to figure out either a different password, right, to try to get into this thing, find a new key, or we're breaking it down and we're beating you. And that's what New York has done. And here's why you can still win 4 of the next 5 games. Boston can. But you've already given up. And in postseason basketball with the SWBA, you are going to have some games that you give away, right? Not intentionally, but there's a margin for error. It's small, but there's a margin for error. Boston has used it up. And when you get out of the first round and you're not playing Orlando anymore, that margin for error is 1 game. And you've already thrown 2 away. So while they are still better than them, better than New York, the margin for error is in the negative now for Boston. And I don't think they dig themselves out of it just based off mathematics. I don't think New York is losing 4 games. Not that Boston can't win it. I just don't think New York is losing 4 games. And I'm curious what will happen if/when Boston loses. Do we look at their championship last season any differently? Because people did not want to give them the credit originally, Yells. They didn't want to give them credit that they could get there before they did. I'm curious how we look back at that championship season and say, yeah, maybe a bit of a sham one. You look at who they played and all these things, who they played in the championship and in the Eastern Conference. Yeah, they won, but wasn't that convincing.
Devil's advocate, the Knicks were a better road team this year than a home team. And the Celtics were a pretty good road team as well.
All right. That is our show. They were. As they head back to MSG, we head back to MSG as the Eastern region gets rolling this weekend in Hoopsteria. Another huge day. We got 3 more huge days. If you thought Thursday was good, just wait till you have the weekend. Friday this morning, 11:30 a.m., Tennessee and Villanova. We've got a 2 seed in action. Villanova trying to maintain a chance and show themselves why they should have been a number 1 seed. They take on Tennessee in the first of a, what is it, octet of games? An octet? Is that it? I think that would be it, right?
It's too early in the morning for this, Marsh.
An
I
octet.
don't know
We're
what
gonna
you're
call
talking
it
about.
an octet because there's 8 games. It's not a doubleheader. It's an octet header or something like that. But that's what's coming up. So anything real quick?
You
Anything
sound
you're
like
excited for?
Rick. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
No.
yeah. You're trying to hear you say octet again. You sound like Rick trying to say foliage.
Yeah, let's not try any of that. Or our guy Sniper trying to say alumni. Um, Anything that you're looking forward to on Friday night or afternoon?
Well,
What?
I think I'm starting with the daytime. I don't know why. I feel I'm not gonna say I feel good. I'm excited to see what the outcome of Tennessee and Villanova is.
I'm nervous.
We know Trey
I'm
Turner doesn't
nervous.
get a lot of help, hasn't had a lot of help, but I'm looking forward to see Trey Turner and Burner take on Villanova just
I'm
because
nervous
I
for
can.
Villanova. I'm nervous for Georgetown. I'm nervous for Kentucky, and I'm nervous for
You're not
Kansas.
nervous for
I'm
Georgia. They're
nervous.
taking on Wichita State.
I
It's barely a
Marquette won.
school, Marsh. It's
Marquette
barely.
won. Marquette beat Texas. I'm nervous. I'm nervous for all the top seeds right now. We at this point you literally would have been better off taking 4 16 seeds than you wouldn't be better off. You'd be as good right now if you picked 4 16 seeds to win if you picked the 4 number 1 seeds. I'm nervous for the number 2 seeds who are in action tomorrow. All right, we went very long, but I think it was worth it. It was a good conversation. So we appreciate anyone tuning in. I know yesterday was a huge day. All the folks that tuned in, appreciate you doing that. Yells, appreciate you joining us here early in the morning after I know you had a long day out across
We all did.
monitoring, but
So did
being
our
in Los Angeles.
so
Um,
so so did our users. Let's thank you. Let's throw some numbers out there. They may have heard of Marsh. You get a chance to hear them as well. Thank you to all of the. I'm slightly dropped that fourth wall. Over 500 viewers across all platforms. Maybe not all concurrent. We need to make sure that we get that to 50 on YouTube at least. But thank you to all of y'all being locked in all day. And thank you for getting our Hoopsteria post on Instagram. Please go if you have not, getting it up to 100,000 views. So thank you to everyone contributing.
All right. Thank you, Yells, for joining us. We'll get you again next Friday. Appreciate you all tuning in. We'll talk to you on Monday on SimWorld today on SimWorld TV, the only place you can see the game, be the game.